This is Anchor Your Retirement with Barb Gullen from Safe Harbor Financial Planning Group. When a part of your financial strategy is out of tune, your long-term goals, your retirement savings, and your legacy can all suffer. With many years of experience in the financial industry, Barb Gullen provides her clients and prospects the information they need regarding Social Security, retirement income planning, wealth management, and much more. Listen in as we address your financial concerns and provide helpful strategies to put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now here is Anchor Your Retirement with Barb Gullen.
Welcome to the Anchor Your Retirement podcast. I'm your host, Barb Gullen, hanging out on this wintry day with my co-host, Tony Shore. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Barb. How are you?
Can't believe we're at the end of 2023 already. How about you?
Yeah, I can't believe it either. The new year is here, and I can't believe it, Barb. 2023 flew by so fast, and I'm excited though for the new year. I mean, we ended 2023 on a high note, and I think this is going to be a good year. How about you?
I think it's going to be a fantastic year. We've been doing this for 6 months now?
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, over half a year, and it just keeps getting better and better.
It does. It does. But with us turning the corner, I watched one of those. I watched Rudolph's Baby New Year the other day while I was sitting there.
That's awesome.
Yes, but where you've got Father Time and and the whole claymation thing, and all of a sudden I'm like 8 again. you know?
Yeah, I think it's Rankin and Bass is the production company that made all those, and they're so great. I love Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and all those other ones too.
I just appreciate the work that went into creating those animations because they didn't have computers to do stuff.
Nope, it's all stop action. Every little move.
Oh, my gosh.
They had to shoot for 1 second, then move it. Then shoot for 1 second, then move everything. I mean, that's why Chicken Run, that claymation movie that's so great by the Wallace and Gromit guys, I think they said it took 5 years to make, and they now have a new one that's coming out, a new Chicken Run too. And they've been working
it the old-fashioned way,
and they've been working on it the last 15 years. So yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm a patient person, but I don't know that I'm that patient.
Well, I'm glad you're patient. I am not a patient person as far as doing that kind of stuff. I'm a chill guy, you know that. But I'm not. I don't have patience for tedious projects. I can't do modeling. I'd love to be able to put together models. My brother-in-law builds these huge spaceships, like all the Star Trek spaceships. And that's his hobby is painting each little piece and gluing them together. And I'm just like, nope.
My son-in-law does a lot of that. I used to decorate cakes way back in the day. So I know what it's like to have to take time and do things. But we are totally rabbit trailing here.
We are.
It's time for the new year.
Yep.
Time to start getting organized. Well, it's been time to get organized, but whatever. You've got a little downtime right now, so it's time to get organized. Time to start getting your ducks in a row for filing your tax returns. Maybe you've got some goals set for the new year where you're trying to financially get everything squared away so that if something happens to you, somebody else knows where to find your stuff.
There you go. And I think so many people don't, and I see what happens when they don't. When my grandfather died, everybody's scrambling. And, to find, well, where is this or where's information on that? And it's not great. You need to get everything so people know, the people closest to you that you can trust, your spouse or another loved one, make sure that you have that in place.
Well, and I think I've told the story before about a dear friend of mine that I had who passed away when he was in his early 40s. And his former wife and children lived out of state. and he went into a coma here. Another fiduciary friend of mine and I had been begging him literally for years to get the durable powers of attorney put in place so that somebody could speak on his behalf and to have everything in order. And that never happened. So his ex-wife was calling us, asking us to go through the home where he lived in to find some important documents that she needed. And the sad part about all of that is we found out just how many problems our friend had when we went through the house and did those things. The sadder part was he was a naturalized citizen. And when it came time that they realized he wasn't going to come out of the coma, they had to make the call internationally, halfway around the world, to call his family to say, number one, you won't be able to get here in time to say goodbye. And number two, we need your permission to turn off the ventilator.
Oh, sad.
Yeah. So not the usual tone of our podcast, not the way I like to talk about it, but y'all need to realize that not having your stuff together can create problems on orders of magnitude. And especially if you have multiple kids or estranged kids that have different philosophies on whether, even if you've said, if I get to this state, I want you to turn the machines off. Guess what? It's a lot harder for your family to decide that when they're in the moment.
Yeah.
And a lot of times emotion takes over.
Yep. And people put off planning and talking about this because nobody likes to think or talk about their own passing or a loved one's passing. But isn't communication the key here, Barb? Before you ever get to that point, communicate, sit everybody down, get the paperwork in place, get the powers of attorney in place, and do that before you even retire, right? I mean,
you need to have this conversation now. You are one car accident away from your life and everybody else's life changing. Yeah. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but we happen to have a 100% mortality rate in this population.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody makes it out alive, unfortunately. No. And you can't take it with you. So you don't want to leave a burden for your loved ones. Get it all laid out and planned out ahead of time is what you're saying.
I am. And we've got 3 tips to help you do that.
Okay? Oh, excellent. Excellent.
Okay, the first one is, we talked about this on last week's podcast, is reach out to us, even if you're not a client, and ask us to set you up with our complimentary generational vault. Okay?
And how does that help?
It is our online document storage portal. It is encrypted at bank level or maybe even higher because, last I knew we have 20 some odd, maybe even more developers working on this project full time to help.
It's 32-bit encryption. It's the same that banks use. Yeah.
Right. And it is a place where you can store all of your important information. And the good news is any place you've got a phone signal, Wi-Fi, access to the internet, you can access any of that information that is in your generational vault. So when you go see the attorney, or if you can't afford an attorney, go online. Every state has standard boilerplate language for those durable powers of attorney. And while it's not the most ideal to just pull down that boilerplate language and use it, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
But get those documents put in place so that if something happens, you've got the ability, you've got people who can speak on your behalf.
That's so important.
And that understand your wishes. And then they've got that legal document to carry out those wishes.
Sure.
It's like I explained to all of my prospects who don't have these documents in place, if you're alive and you can speak for yourself, that's awesome. If you're dead, the beneficiary provisions kick in. So make sure those are up to date. The problem we have is if you're in limbo, if you're still alive but incapacitated and can't speak for yourself, especially when you've got one person who's the breadwinner and the other person who stays at home or who doesn't have access to a whole lot of income. I'm like, your significant other can't tap your 401k or your thrift savings plan for a loan if they don't have that document in place that says, I can speak on your behalf. And to have to go through the court system and get a court order can take 30 to 60 days. It's not a quick process.
Oh, no. Yeah. You want to avoid probate and all your money going to the courts and attorneys. And for a smaller fee, work with an estate planning attorney. I know that your office, that's what you do for your clients, is work alongside estate planning attorneys and look at the overall plan. But get a plan in place if you don't have one. Like you said, powers of attorney, all of these types of things.
Yep. Wills, you may have enough assets where you need a trust. More than likely, I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV, but if you're in a blended family situation, more often than not, a trust is going to help ensure that everything goes where you want it to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really important. And you don't want to leave your loved ones with a tax burden as well. There are tax implications, right?
There can be. Right now, the estate tax exemption is very, very high. It's it's 23 million or something like that.
Yeah.
But one of the things that they have talked about doing congressionally is dropping that level back down again into the $3 to $6 million range.
Yeah.
Which, even though it still doesn't impact a whole lot of people, it impacts more than.
It impacts a wide swath of even middle class people, because if you inherit, let's say you inherit farmland, or you inherit a small business, or you inherit a big house, I mean, you can hit the 3 million mark pretty quick, quicker than people think, and then you're going to be in. Then Uncle Sam's going to take a huge chunk of everything.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, right now they're not doing that, but with with the state of indebtedness that our nation is in, it is highly possible. I don't take anything as being off the table anymore.
Well, yeah, and that's part of that tax bill that's set to expire the end of 2025, and so they're saying that it'll drop back down to where it was before, which is like 3 or 4 million, like you said. And so you got to watch out for that too. I just think that people don't understand when it comes to gifting or leaving things. You really need professional help. And I know you help guide your clients and help find them the help they need and give them the help they need. That's so important for our listeners out there.
It is. Make
and sure you have.
I want to clarify that 23 million and change is per couple, not per person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
that's good to know.
Yeah, but that's why you need to work with an estate planning attorney. That's why I encourage you to work with a fiduciary. I have a client in another state whose husband recently passed away, and she was talking to me yesterday wondering how she should take the death benefit from his life insurance, because she had several different settlement options with that. And so we were hashing out what made the most sense there.
You got to do the math and work with a financial professional, a fiduciary like yourself, Barb. When those things come up, don't make that decision without talking to somebody like yourself. That's for sure.
Please don't. Please don't. So step one was reach out and get a generational vault. And if you're a client and you have forgotten how to log in, reach out to us. We'll help you reset that password so that you can get logged in. I also use my generational vault. I have scanned and stored a bunch of photographs in that.
Yeah, you can store as much as you want. Photographs.
It's got unlimited storage capacity.
Yeah.
My family and my friends who are my powers of attorney all know, they've all got hard copies of everything that they need, but they also know how to access it online if something like that happens.
Yeah, through the vault. Yeah, so that's the first step is have all your documents stored in the electronically in the generational vault, and things like passwords and information people are going to need, your family or loved one will need. What's the next step?
The second step is to talk to that estate planning attorney.
Yes,
get these
that's the second
put
step.
In place.
Yep.
And in the interim, if you think you can't afford an estate planning attorney, but you don't have those durable powers of attorney, again, go online. There are some legal form websites that are very modestly priced. Most states have the language somewhere where you can download it at no charge. Understand that those documents probably aren't going to be valid and enforceable unless you sign them in the presence of a notary, which you can do at the bank, or a lot of those shipping stores offer notary services, or there are people that offer mobile notary services for a small cost to get that done. I mean, even if you don't get the will and the trust done, please, please, please get those durable powers of attorney done so that somebody can speak on your behalf, both medically and financially, that they can help make sure you continue to pay your bills.
Yes. So that's the second step. What's the third step?
The third step is, a few months ago, I created a tool to try to make it easier for people to pull this information together. And I created this journal. It's called, trying to get this. It says, When I Die, Look Here First.
Oh, wow.
You can order it on Amazon. Okay. And the first part of the journal has places for you to put in all of your passwords. Okay. So once you fill this out, you need to put it in a secure place. Don't just leave it out. It's also got places to list your financial contacts, your medical contacts, who all of your doctors are, who might somebody need to contact. We tried to think of everything. Other important information, like, where is your safety deposit box? Do you have a safe? Do you have a gun safe? What are those passwords? Where can we find the keys to that? Where do you have copies of your legal documents? A place for your funeral plans, even a place to list out your investments, your loans, promised heirlooms, so that everybody doesn't have to argue. No, she promised it to me. She promised it to me. Write it down, folks. Even who do you want to take care of your pet? Oh, wow. Yeah. Things that people forget about.
I didn't even realize you had that tool. That's really great, Barb. That's amazing.
My favorite part is the second half of the book. It's journal prompts, questions for you to answer about your life and what it was like when you were growing up, and spaces for you to answer it in your own handwriting.
Wow. That's awesome.
In this day and age, everything is typed. They don't even teach cursive in a lot of schools anymore, which is funny because, I go to college part-time. That's how I get my health insurance. That's another topic for another time. But when I'm in the in-person classes and I'm sitting there taking notes in cursive, it absolutely blows the young pups away. They're like, wow. Anyway, but
it's like a foreign. It's like, are you writing in Greek?
What is a foreign language? It is a foreign language. But my paternal grandmother passed away when I was 19 years old, and she's the one that taught me how to cook. So I have a few of her recipes handwritten, but, now that as I got older, there were things that I wondered about her life that I couldn't ask her about anymore because she wasn't here. And I wanted to create something where people could leave a legacy and tell their story in their own words, in their own handwriting, so that, somebody like their grandkids or their great grandkids can see what life was like when ... Especially since, my grandmother immigrated over from Italy. On the Italian side of my family, I'm second generation American. So, there were a lot of amazing stories that went when she did. But that's what prompted the second half of this book.
I think that's great. That's a great, I can't recommend that enough. When I hit my 50s, I'm starting to think about these things and I'm like, I need to get all this stuff together in one place.
Yep. And we will post a link to the book in the show notes.
Good.
We'll make sure that you've got that. Just because, it's important.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of you getting everything pulled together. When I do my women's seminars and my tax seminars, I stand up there and I'm like, how organized are you really? If I come and pound on your door at 2:00 in the morning and tell you that your house is on fire and you've got 5 minutes to get out with all the important information, which fun fact, you've got less than that if your house is on fire.
Right.
Could you actually do it?
Mm-hmm.
Could somebody, in the event of you being incapacitated, could you tell somebody where to go in your house to pull this document, that information, that insurance policy?
Right. That's important.
Yeah. I mean, in this day and age of everything being electronic, we assume that we're going to be able to access it from anywhere. And in a perfect world, we can. But, what if you're in a place where you don't have access to a good internet signal? You've got to have hard copies of some of this stuff somewhere.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah.
Just saying. And as much as I advocate, safety deposit boxes are good things, I also think you need to have something secure at your residence.
Yeah.
So that
a fireproof safe is really important.
Yes. A fireproof safe is very important. And, but you want to be able to access it at 3:00 in the morning when there's an emergency. You don't want to have to wait until 9:00 on Monday morning when the bank opens again to be able to get to it.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good point.
So
yeah. Safe deposit boxes have kind of gone the way of the buffalo, I think.
Yeah, they're still around.
The way of the pension. The way of the pension. They've gone the way of the pension.
Yeah,
that's more accurate. All right. Well, Barb, great show today. Before we go, let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you to set up a no charge, no obligation consultation. Sure.
They can reach out to us. Our telephone number is area code 913-553-6222. And our website is anchoryourretirement.com. Reach out to us either way. There's a contact us form on the website. We consider it an honor to be able to help people get this information pulled together and make it easy for those you leave behind. They're already going to be in enough pain grieving your loss.
Yeah.
Let's make it as easy as possible to get them through the legal stuff, the paperwork stuff, so that they can remember you and, honor your legacy the way you would want it to be honored.
Yeah, that's really important. Well, Barb, great show today.
Thanks,
and a really important topic. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in, listening, viewing. And that does it for today's episode of Anchor Your Retirement with our host, Barb Golan.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you for listening to Anchor Your Retirement. Don't pay too much for taxes or retire without a sound retirement plan. For more information, please contact Barb Golan at Safe Harbor Financial Planning Group. Call 913-553-6222 or visit them online at anchoryourretirement.com.
Advisory services are offered through Safe Harbor Financial Planning Group, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Kansas. All matters discussed during the show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. We are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration, the Federal Medicare Program, or any other government agency. Calling this number will direct you to a licensed sales agent.